Right in the center of my veggie patch, there's a hole, and inside it, there's a pipe. A simple white PVC one protruding about 4 inches above the soil, capped with a basic plastic lid. My neighbors figure I've gone off the deep end. My fellow gardeners quit inquiring after some time. But here's the secret they all miss. That plain, boring pipe is generating the world's priciest fertilizer daily, totally free. Right at my plant's roots, without me doing a thing. Forget flipping compost heaps, lugging fertilizer sacks from the store, or dealing with spreaders, measurements, or timetables. It's merely a pipe buried in a setup, so ancient, refined, and ruthlessly effective that the fertilizer business has worked for decades to keep it under wraps. Folks assume composting demands big trade-offs: yard space for a bulky bin, your sense of smell each time you lift the cover, your weekend flipping and stirring while you wait. Then you still haul it to your crops. Imagine if the whole process was flawed from the start. What if nature handled every phase out of sight, deep in the earth, on its own schedule? That's precisely what this pipe achieves. Once you grasp the science driving it, you'll view store-bought fertilizer bags differently forever. This isn't some fresh concept. It's among Earth's oldest farming tricks, intentionally suppressed around mid-20th century. The Aztecs grasped it. Well before chemical fertilizers, Mesoamerican societies recognized earthworms as the hidden force, powering their dirt. They left them alone, never uprooting them. They designed fields to let scraps rot right below ground, allowing worms to perform their natural role. In the 1880s, a reserved, fixated British scientist devoted his final 40 years to earthworms. Charles Darwin, he's the one most recalled for evolution, but he ranked his thick tome on worm habits and soil reshaping as a career pinnacle. He demonstrated that worms, not precipitation or sun, are soil's chief builders. That insight didn't vanish. It got sidelined. Post-World War II, explosive factories sought fresh outlets and switched to nitrogen fertilizers. Suddenly, farming talk flipped from living soil ecosystems to chemical fixes. From nurturing biology to swapping it with synthetics, the sector convinced growers and later backyard enthusiasts that richness came from packages, not the earth itself. Thus, worms faded from view, not due to flawed research, but because it clashed with endless seasonal sales. Darwin's findings, dismissed by industry, explain why my garden pipe succeeds. Its inner workings are odder and sharper than you'd guess. Here's the fascinating part. Earthworms lack sight or hearing, yet they boast something ideal for our goal: a hypersensitive chemical sensor across every inch of their skin. They perceive via soil's humidity and chemtrails, and they're irresistibly pulled by decaying organics' aroma. Toss in a banana skin or coffee grounds through that PVC pipe and close the lid, and breakdown kicks off fast. Bacteria degrade it, emitting targeted gases that seep into the dirt via the pipe's drilled openings. These spread through soil water like a subtle, unseen alert. Every nearby worm picks it up and heads straight there. Soil studies confirm worms zero in on eats with eerie precision, tracing chem paths like sharks track blood in the ocean. The pipe turns into a fixed hub, a constant buffet, drawing worms from far past your bed's borders. They slip in via holes, eat in the space, then crucially exit. Those earthworms slip back out via the same openings and weave throughout your root zone, breaking down organic matter along the way, while aerating the soil through their tunnels and dropping castings, the scientific name for their poop, in a steady stream, right where your plant's roots are thriving. That's the beauty of this setup. The pipe isn't trapping nutrients. It's creating an attraction that spreads them across your whole bed via the worm's own travels. You're crafting not a compost container, but a worm superhighway, featuring a fixed pit stop at its core. And the stuff those worms deposit in your dirt is gold that no fertilizer brand wants you calculating on your own. Let's crunch the numbers now. Worm castings, or worm poop by its proper name, go for $15 to $30 per small 5-liter bag at typical garden shops. If you grabbed one and checked the label, you know it's pitched as top-shelf, almost gourmet plant food. Yet, the cost reveals only part of it. The real puzzle is what justifies that premium. It's something chemical fertilizers can't touch. Conventional synthetics revolve around the 3 figures on every package: nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, the NPK formula. They dump those in a water-soluble, quick-hit form that surges the soil, sparks brief growth spurts in plants, then washes out with rain. Plants get a rush, crash, and crave more. It's engineered addiction. Worm castings operate by a whole other logic. Their nutrients are locked in a gradual release organic web, feeding roots bit by bit as the plants signal demand, not in one big dump, but past NPK. They pack what no lab-made fertilizer has nailed: teeming beneficial microbes like bacteria and fungi that bond symbiotically with roots. They hold natural growth boosters, auxins and cytokinins, that spur root expansion and toughen plants against stress. They deliver humic acids that tweak soil texture, letting loose sands hold water better and tight clays loosen up. A 2011 study in Applied Soil Ecology showed even tiny doses of worm castings in grow mixes beat synthetic fertilizers for seed sprouting and young plant vigor. It's not mere feeding, it's a microbial dialogue with the roots, and your pipe is producing this powerhouse stuff for free. Right in the root-hungry zone. The underground plant is humming. You simply haven't fired it up. Time to assemble it. The supplies are ridiculously basic, which explains why skeptics steeped in gardening means gadgets lore overlook it. Grab a section of PVC pipe, best at 4 to 6 inches diameter, or a lidded plastic bucket from any hardware spot for pennies. Size counts for holding decent organic scraps without daily top-ups, yet keeping decay speedy via enough bug action. Bury it with about 2/3 underground, leaving roughly 4 inches poking up as your feed chute. In most backyard beds, 18 to 24 inches length hits the sweet spot, positioning the base where moisture stays steady and worms thrive most, usually 10 to 16 inches deep, varying by your weather. Prior to planting it, drill holes. Grab a regular drill and a 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch bit. Then pepper the bottom 2/3 all around with openings spaced 2 to 3 inches apart in random spots. This isn't a screen, it's a gateway network. Maximize doors for worm freedom every which way. More portals mean more worm flow. More flow means broader casting spread. For the pipe's base, pick your path. Keep it wide open so worms can climb straight up from below and juices from rotting scraps seep into the soil, towing nutrients along. Alternatively, you could cover the base with a loose layer of mesh or landscape fabric. This blocks bigger chunks of debris from blocking the bottom, but still lets worms slip through easily. Either method does the job well. Going with the open end keeps things straightforward and boosts worm traffic just a bit more. Place the pipe right in the middle of your garden bed, if your setup permits. That way, you extend its reach as far as possible, so worms venturing out from the feeding area weave through the roots of the most plants before dropping off their castings. With the pipe buried and the top lid secured, your setup is all done. Yet the real key to success lies in how you nourish it. Get this right from the start, or little slip-ups can sabotage the entire operation. Over time, the guidelines are straightforward. Though, understanding why they work is worth diving into. Pretty much all uncooked kitchen scraps are fair game. Veggie and fruit trimmings, banana skins, apple middles, limp lettuce, coffee sediment, tea bags minus staples, smashed eggshells, modest portions of plain boiled rice or noodles, plus shredded cardboard or newsprint to manage dampness. These break down at a pace worms can handle, steadily sending out soil signals that hold your worm crew close to the pipe. Just as crucial is steering clear of the wrong stuff. Proteins like meat, seafood, or dairy trigger a bacterial process that spits out ammonia-heavy byproducts, toxic to worms instead of drawing them in. Oily cooked dishes, saucy meals, or spice-laden leftovers do the same damage. Too much citrus rind spikes acidity, throwing off the chamber's microbe harmony. And pesticide or herbicide-tainted items, even some store-bought veggie scraps, can poison the worms you're aiming to thrive. Stick to fresh, plant-only inputs, and the setup stays self-managing. How often you add food can vary. Aim for every couple of days to keep breakdown steady, though it handles skips up to a week or beyond without failing. Departed worms during downtime come back once feeding picks up again. This pipe is a fixture in your bed, not some fragile gadget that quits if you fall behind. You'll spot it thriving after a few weeks when castings pile up noticeably in the chamber. Nearby, soil turns richer, darker, and fluffier compared to the rest, while plants nearest the pipe surge ahead of the pack, incredibly so, to the point it's tough to describe to skeptics who've never witnessed it. Folks often mess up by stuffing the pipe too full before the inner microbes catch up. If lifting the lid hits you with a nasty stench instead of that good loamy fungal aroma of balanced rot, cut back on additions and toss in some dry cardboard or leaves to fix the carbon-nitrogen mix. All the magic happens quietly below ground, fueled only by scraps you'd discard anyway. That's precisely the sort of insight big industries wish stayed buried. If you've followed along this far, you've unlocked a gardening secret that eludes even long-time growers. It's not tricky, doesn't demand fancy expertise or gear, just leverages 500 million years of biology to convert scraps into Earth's top fertilizer, free for life. No wonder it's sidelined. It wrecks the sales pitch from every outfit peddling growth aids. Pure business math, no plot required. Spreading this info nudges folks to rethink buying those fertilizer bags season after season. Each builder of these pipes breaks the endless customer loop. If joining that shift appeals, stick around. My focus here stays on proven, no-cost growing hacks that fly under the radar of ads. Next up, I'll reveal a technique that dwarfs this pipe by comparison. A method to revive utterly barren, packed, lifeless dirt in less than 60 days, using only stuff that most folks toss out. No digging required, no store-bought fixes, simply letting biology do its natural job. Trust me, you can't skip that one. If discovering earthworm's secret strength has shifted your take on gardening, hit subscribe and give it a thumbs up. We're exposing the farming past and bio-truths that agribusiness wanted forgotten. Together, we'll build a more independent tomorrow. Your garden's next game changer drops soon.